Well, of course, you know that much as Uganda is not our largest trading partner, it is the second largest trading partner in East Africa. But the relationship between the two countries are very, very strong. You know that it was in 2012 when the ANC was celebrating its centenary, where the party invited many heads of states and government from different parts of the continent as a organization that was founded on principle of uniting the Africans. And therefore, President Museveni was among those leaders who attended. And I remember very well, he was speaking when he made an example that the two nations are connected, when he spoke about how when he was at primary school in Uganda, a teacher told them that they are Zulus, because everybody is of a view that all of us, we are Zulus. People can't even differentiate. But it spoke to the relationship and the understanding that even way back, the Ugandans were fully aware about South Africa and the struggle. That is why some of the ANC activists received military training in Uganda, and therefore the relationship at political level have been very strong under former President Nelson Mandela, under former President Mbeki, under former President Kgalema Motlanthe, under former President Zuma, and now during this time where the President of the Republic, President Ramaphosa, is in charge. And therefore it's a continuation of the relationship. Many people expect these two countries to make pronouncement on issues that are related to trade between the two countries, but also on the continent, peace and security, and globally peace and security in relation to the war in Ukraine.
Yeah, this state president comes at a time when the president is dealing with national and international concerns, just in terms of the big plate of issues nationally for President Cyril Ramaphosa as well. How will this affect the interaction between the two presidents?
Well, we will be monitoring every move when President Ramaphosa finally appears here, because we last saw him in Parliament where he was addressing the House of Traditional Leaders, and much was not touched on in relation to what's happening in South Africa and abroad. The focus was on the House of Traditional Leaders and local government in particular. And I think of interest for media is to see whether what will be his demeanor, his posture, his confidence, hosting a counterpart, but having a lot to deal with. I mean, we know that on Mondays, the President of the Republic, particularly because now it is still the ANC. It dates back from Mandela, Mbeki, Kgalema, Zuma, and now President Ramaphosa. On Mondays, they used to go to Little House. It is a political party day, and the president was doing just that, meeting with the officials and perhaps interacting with other people we don't know. And I think those interactions related to when you look at what's happening in the country, the issue of derate, electricity, and the much talked about cabinet reshuffle, I think those were the main issues in his agenda yesterday. Now today, he is going to look at the international issues. And I think right now he might be arriving, if I see well, the president is arriving. As you can see, those visuals there on the other DMNG, the president is arriving. But the president of Uganda is going to touch down at 10:30 at Waterkloof. He hasn't arrived yet. The deliberations are going to be delayed. But as I pointed out, all of us, we are now looking at the body language of the president in terms of what he is going to say. We also have the Minister of International Relations, Dr. Naledi Pandor, who is already here, who is going to speak to us, because it's quite important to understand this meeting, what it is going to be all about. But when I look, I also see the Minister of Tourism, Minister Lindwe Sisulu, who has arrived already. I'm going to speak to her also about the role of South Africa and Uganda in relation to tourism. You know that Uganda in particular, it's one country where many people like to visit from abroad. And therefore, I think both South Africa and Uganda can be able to talk about issues related to tourism. I think I'm hesitant because I'm waiting for the minister to come. Minister, are you scared?
No, I'm just wondering.
What's going on?
Where?
Cabinet reshuffle, butterflies.
I've been here too long to have any butterflies.
Thank you, Minister, for your time. Minister, the relationship between Uganda and South Africa quite sound. And in terms of tourism, what do you expect?
Can I start with the political? Because
Yes.
Uganda played an extremely important role for us, especially in the later years when most of the 1976 students came and post-1976, and we didn't have a place to keep them. We took them to Uganda, and we were very looked after, very well looked after. When it was President Zuma's last term, and he took a trip down memory lane, he went to Uganda, and there we were able to give back to Uganda a completely refurbished military camp. Complete with a library which we named Oliver Tambo Library, complete with a school, all of those things, because we wanted to say thank you to them for the work that they had done for us. At that time that we were in Uganda, Tenju Mtinso was the head of the camp there, and it was the first time we had a woman in charge of a military camp, and we were very glad to give back to the Ugandans. Otherwise, they remain very loyal to us. The President Museveni never stops talking about the liberation struggle, and he never stops talking about the role that we jointly played as liberation movements. And I'm very glad that he is here to see that we are prospering in South Africa, that the work that the Ugandans put into our struggle is bearing fruit. And I'm looking forward to him seeing us where we are right now.
On tourism, I know Uganda, many international tourists like to visit Uganda with those beautiful lakes. And South Africa also has got a beautiful scenery and places to visit. What can we learn from the Ugandans?
Well, we've had many bilaterals with the Ugandans. We've learned what it is that sells a country. They have beautiful lakes, but we have beautiful weather. We have beautiful
mountains.
We have beautiful mountains. We have wonders of the world, etc., etc. We're signing a memorandum of understanding to make sure that when people visit South Africa, we can direct them to Uganda. When they visit Uganda, they can direct them to us. We have a collaboration as SADC countries to make sure that we can have a collective pool of tourists that will be able to see all the sites in Southern Africa. But we are a much more beautiful country than Uganda any day.
Very green Uganda and Burundi, the Great Lakes region, a beautiful region.
We have the most beautiful mountain. It is a world-renowned Table Mountain. We have the most beautiful seas. We have Durban seas. We have,
Big Five.
We have Big Five. You're the sixth one. I'm joking, sweetie pie. No, we have Big Five. No, we are a real tourist destination, and we have a working relationship as SADC countries, and they channel their visitors to us, we channel their visitors to them. So there's no competition really, because what they experience there is more of the beauty of the place. What they experience here is not only the beauty, but the history of the place, and everything else that goes with South Africa. We're going to sign a collaboration agreement, and we will make sure that we can share the pool of visitors who come to Africa. Without South Africa, there would be minus a great deal of understanding of what Africa means to us. And the President Museveni is so proud of having helped us. He is so proud of himself having been a soldier. He's been through the same route that we've been through. So he relates very well with us, and he likes making an example of, just how we used to train together and how they used to train our soldiers. And it's a great moment for us to say, as a country, thank you very much for looking after our people. And he will probably indicate to us that there might be a number of children we've left behind that might want to come home. But that's another matter for another time. But on tourism, we have very good relations, and we will be signing today some collaboration.
Thank you so much, Minister, for your time at a difficult time. Cabinet reshuffle looming.
Who says? You know, the media is very good at creating an environment that nobody has sparked off. Why don't you just try and wait?
And just focus on the task at hand.
Focus on a very important visitor coming to our country, and one who has contributed so greatly to our liberation, and one who is so proud of what we have become, so proud of being African. Let's focus on the moment, eh?
Thank you so much, Minister. That was Minister of Tourism in South Africa, talking about the relationship between Uganda and South Africa, and also talking about the agreement that she is going to sign with her counterpart in relation to strengthening the relationship between South Africa and Uganda on tourism. But of course, she's quite correct. The history between the two countries, very, very rich. And I think it's something that many will enjoy today as they look back and perhaps reflect on what has happened. And for a moment, not really thinking about cabinet reshuffle, Desiree, let's focus on the task at hand, the visit of President Museveni. But I am quite sure that many will be watching the president's body language